Hello, music fans. I'm going to be a talking head today. Got this set up so you can just see my head filling the whole screen, so that's kind of fun. And I'm continuing my series about condensing long double albums into single albums. And today's episode in that series, I've already done one about the Beatles' White Album and Pink Floyd's The Wall. Today, the episode will be about The Astonishing by Dream Theater, which is their kind of almost like a Broadway musical type double album that they made that has a whole concept about like a future where only machines can make music, and there's some kind of evil ruler, and then some savior comes around who learns how to sing, and the ruler is threatened by that. I didn't follow the full concept, but it's something like that. The original album is 2 hours and 11 minutes, so it's really long. And I think a lot of people consider this like a weak or one of the worst Dream Theater albums. So I actually really like it, and I think it's kind of ambitious and brave for them to kind of take that creative risk. It's very different from all their other albums. It kind of stands out. It's not my favorite, but it's also not among my least favorite. It's in the top half of their discography for me. But I think people might have liked it better if it was a little bit shorter. 2 hours and 11 minutes is a lot to invest in listening. It fills 2 CDs, not just 2 vinyls like the last 2 I talked about. So I made a version that's only an hour and 5 minutes. But I realize this is a concept album, so I have to eliminate the need for a story-like narrative in order to do this, and just focus on the best music and best songs to pick for a listening experience. So here's the ones that I would keep on my shortened version. It would be from disc 1, I'd keep Dystopian Overture, which should still be the opener of the album because it foreshadows a bunch of the themes that will be present in the album. And it's the instrumental kind of overture of the musical. And then The Gift of Music would be the next track I'd keep. It's a joyful song that follows up the Dystopian Overture. Even on the actual album, that's the order it goes into. Then I'd keep The Answer, which is a short ballad. Then Lord Nefarious, which is one of my favorite tracks, probably my favorite track on the album. It's like a Disney villain theme song with metal and prog influences. Got to keep Lord Nefarious. Then I'd keep 3 Days as the next one, which is another evil villain sounding song. Then it would go into Brother, Can You Hear Me, which has a memorable melody, marching band type drumming. Then Chosen, which is another ballad that I decided to keep. Has a really nice melody. There's a lot of ballads on this album, and there are too many, so I cut a bunch of them, but I had to keep some of them as well to kind of have a nice balance of soft ballads and heavier stuff. Next, I would keep The X Aspect, which is a slower, epic, catchy song. And then I'd keep A New Beginning is the last song on disc 1 that I would keep, which would be the longest and most epic song to close out the first half. And then it would be kind of the intermission of the musical, if you will. And then the second half of the musical would kick off with these songs that I'm keeping from disc 2. The first one would be 2285 Entr'acte, which is the instrumental overture for Act 2 that brings back a bunch of the themes that you've heard already. Really cool. Then I keep Moment of Betrayal, which is probably one of the catchiest choruses on the album and kind of the main song on the album that stands on its own outside of the story, which is probably why they made it one of the singles for the album, if I can recall. Then I'd pick Begin Again, which sounds like a song you'd hear a gospel singer play on an acoustic guitar at a church, but is very strong melodically. Then I'd keep The Walking Shadow, another good song, followed by Our New World, another good song that might have been another single, I think, after Moment of Betrayal. And then the last song to close out the album would be Astonishing, the closing song on the original album as well. So the songs that I cut all the Nomac songs, the ones that are just Nomac noise, they're just kind of ambient noise tracks. So Descent of the Nomacs, the hovering sojourn and digital discord, those were obvious and easy to cut. I cut A Savior in the Square and A Better Life. Those are both pretty good songs, but I had to cut them to make room for some better ones. Then I cut When Your Time Has Come and Act of Faith, both of which are soft songs that are really nothing special, and already kind of picked the soft ballad ones that I wanted to keep. Then I cut A Life Left Behind and Ravenskill and A Tempting Offer, all of which are pretty good songs, but just had to cut to make room for better ones. And I cut The Road to Revolution, again, nothing special. Those are the ones I cut from disc 1. From disc 2, I cut Heaven's Cove and The Path That Divides and My Last Farewell, all of which are pretty good. Had to cut to make room for better ones. I cut Losing Faith, which starts with that phony fake crying and is another soft song, and it's kind of one of the more cringy moments of the album, so it made sense to cut it. And then I cut Hymn of a Thousand Voices, another soft song, and there were just too many soft songs on the album, so I had to cut it to kind of balance it out between soft and heavy. I'll put a link to a Spotify playlist with my condensed version of The Astonishing by Dream Theater, and I think if people who didn't like the original album listen to this version, they might see that there's some pretty cool stuff here, and maybe it'll work better for them. I was thinking I might end this series here, but I had another idea to maybe try to do this for Physical Graffiti by Led Zeppelin. So if people are interested in this series and want me to keep it going, that might be what I'll do next. Until next time, peace out.